welcome to another Let's Build It. Here we are at the quarry, and we continue with this massive build over in this area, which is what I think is going to be an office area that is connected to that room in the back, which will be, I believe, like a gun workshop kind of thing. So I'll have a bunch of weapons and stuff back here, maybe some workbenches and things like that. This episode, I want to get started on the office and also figure out some other stuff out here and just trying to establish more of this interior and what I'm doing. I'm thinking about a bunch of different things right now, so I think I'll start maybe on this balcony thing here. Okay, I'm gonna grab a metal pole. I've used this before. It's a smaller one. This one here. This works well for kind of framing like windows or doorways. And I'll grab a couple of these. And I'm going to use these to basically frame in the patio slider. So I'm going to make it with the windows and then with these on the side just to frame in that window slider thing, and I'll show you here. I've done it on some of my other builds, but I think it works best, and it also just establishes like an edge. And I'll drop it in right about here and set it in just a little. Just like so. Hang out just a bit, like so. And then once we put the windows in and kind of offset those so it looks like the slider is part open, it has this here to kind of show where that slider door might go into. I just like putting it there. So we'll drop this one in here and we'll drop one on the other side, and then we'll get the windows in. Okay, next up I'm going to grab a couple of these metal half wall pieces. And I like to use these and drop them into the ground as, say, like the slider track for the windows here going across. I also will use them, just to finish off windows or anything that needs more of a base, so it doesn't just drop into the floor and disappear into the floor without any kind of semi-realistic support or framework. I try and do that as much as I can. It's not perfect, but it does kind of help so that window doesn't just, straight glass into the floor. I just think it looks better. We'll drop these in here. Just like so. And then that just gives it a more finished off look to it. So once we drop in the windows, you'll see what I'm saying. So I'm going with these 3-panel windows again, mainly because they are kind of my only option as far as clean glass of any kind, at least on the PlayStation here. I use these frequently, and obviously been using them already on the other side of the build. So we'll continue that on here and drop it in just on top of that little thing we just dropped in. Make it appear as it kind of frames in the glass a little more. Just like so. And that looks pretty good. And it also gives us just the right amount of space to drop in the other one. Okay, got a little sidetracked here. Want to jump on our little secret entrance or escape exit down below. I just wanted to add and clean this up a bit by adding in the security fence doorway, where you can lock it and it's somewhat secure. So I think that looks pretty good there. And I'm gonna grab some more of the marble staircase so I can clean up that doorway there and make that look more as though it's built in to the rest of the quarry, much like all the other stuff we've built so far. So we'll add this in real quick. Okay, that escalated fast. I put in a lot of marble, just finding new spots that I needed to add that in, but I wanted to get it done, and it seemed like every time I passed something, I needed to add some of that. This little platform piece I want to add off the edge, off the ledge here. So I do want to figure out a way to get down, because there is the entrance down there, that door. I don't want to block that off since it is kind of game related. So I try to keep those active and not cover them up, or definitely don't delete them. So I figure why not just establish some kind of staircase that goes all the way down there so I can access it if I need to, or if I wind up, playing a game and needing that, for my playthrough. Usually all my builds here, this is just like a build save. So if I want to play my game, or that's a completely different save. I usually keep my builds completely separate because they usually get pretty bogged down and big and take up a lot of space, and the frame rate isn't too good, and experience, crashes and things like that. So I just like to keep them separate. I'm going to add in one of these skinny warehouse staircase little things. I think this will work perfect for leading down into that area where that door is. And these little ladder stair things work pretty well when you're trying to fit them in a small spot. So I've used these a lot. I wish they had different angles of these These are pretty steep here, but at times it'd be nice to have even steeper. More options would be great, but I'll take what I can get. Looks like I need to add in some more marble, maybe a couple more pieces. Just kind of jump ahead. This is all boring building stuff, so let's do this real quick. Okay, so I changed up that platform just a bit. I needed a little more space to get those stairs out and down. So that also allowed me to add in these railings here and just lines on the edge. So it looks a little more built in, and it actually works with the whole quarry thing. So that looks like it should be there. So these railings here worked out fairly well for that. Just line this one up a little more. Something you probably won't notice, but if I can just make these match up to where it looks like all one piece, it'll definitely look better. There we go. I think that works. Next up, I need to establish a wall or some kind of barrier, because that water that I put in down there in our little escape area or entrance area comes to an end. So I need to build some kind of barrier or wall for that. So I'm just gonna simplify this, and not that this would actually hold back water, but I'm just gonna close off that spot, which would be visible. Actually, it's not visible from the platform. So we'll just assume that the platform is on marble, and that's where the water ends. So in order to block that off, I need to put something behind So as you're coming down those stairs, there's at least something blocking that. So I'm just going to do this, keep it simple, and use this rusty corrugated metal wall piece to kind of build up that back wall. So there's at least something there. So we'll add this in up here. I'll use multiple pieces here, but you get the idea, just to close that off. So you can't just wander into the water or be in the water and swim just out down to here. So this way we can kind of separate those two spots. And I think that will work as it is. Guess what? Dropping in more marble. Think I can grab a couple of these pieces and finish up that upper spot of our little wall that we're trying to hide. So let's drop some of these in, and then we'll keep building on some of the more fun stuff. I'm adding in a couple turrets here just for extra security. Just add them down here just so I have a couple things guarding this spot. That might help against any unwanted raiders, which will probably pop up or spawn into our build here. So hopefully these will take care of them and we can deal with them later. I like using these little shelf things. I don't recall what mod this is in, but it's in my miscellaneous with all the thousands of other options. But I like this to use as, kind of like an end piece, or in this case, this is going to go above the doorway, and it finishes things off a bit when you need an object that is roughly like this size, like a odd shape. Obviously this is the back of the shelving, so it works perfect when you put it up here like this, and it just finishes things off. So I'm going to line it up with this one, get roughly the same thickness, so something like that. I'll just finish off that top area a little more. I will need to do something with this ceiling. I don't like all this, even though it's more of like a basement storage area. I don't like all the framework of that. I'd like to finish it off with something, but I'm not sure if I'll go to that length to do so. But I'm gonna drop some more of these in, finish off that little upper section there. So kind of cleaned off. I gave it kind of a two-ledge look to it. which will lead up into the ceiling, and I just think overall it just looks better rather than just having the quarry go straight up. It's a little more interesting, I think. So we'll go with it. Now this concrete floor, which has a good underneath section, because a lot of those floor pieces have that standard underneath, it just doesn't look very well. So this I think works pretty good because it has this mesh with the concrete, and it looks like more something that would be poured concrete wise, for a ceiling. So I'm going to use some of these to shore up the ceiling area and just give it a more finished off look. We'll drop this in or put this up. You can kind of see what I'm talking about. But right here as we come out, I like to have that go all the way there to the end. So we'll add this in just to cover up that gap. And you can't really see it now, but I'll probably add in a light or something. So if you do happen to look up, at least it'll be finished off. I think I'll add this little hanging fluorescent light. It's not too bright and it has just a slight tint to the color of it, which looks more like a fluorescent light. So it just lights that area up just enough to where you kind of see it, but it's not super bright and overbearing. So I think that will work for what we need here for a little exit or entrance area. I'm going to start putting in some of these wall pieces, and I'm really liking this sanctuary-esque house wall pieces from the s'more mod. They're just snapping the wrong way, so I'll have to set one of these up the proper way, then I can get the rest of the ones to snap in correctly. But basically what I want to do is start setting up this lower area so I get a better idea of how much space I have to deal with. Quap this in, find our corner spot here, and then we should be able to snap over from this one. But that gives us that corner for the escape door. And then we'll drop these in here real quick. I'm glad they snap. I really do like these pieces. They're clean. If you're doing a cleaner build, which is kind of what we're doing here at the quarry, whether that makes sense or not, I don't know, but I just like the look of it, and I want this to be a very nice, clean build on the inside at least. And these work perfect for that. Just dropping this one in here in the corner. I want to make sure it somewhat lines up with this edge, so when I do snap the rest in, I don't have to readjust this one, because the angle of this whole wall will depend on this one that I'm setting right now. And since it won't snap in the correct way, I need to quap it in like this, and we'll just put it in the corner there. We'll sacrifice a few inches or like a foot or so of space there, but that's okay. I think the room's big enough as it is, but I think I do want to drop it all the way to the edge, so we'll readjust this here. And we can add in one more piece, snap these in, see how they look. They look like they're pretty straight, so that'll just go straight into that wall there. I think I want to keep that rock texture. I'll add a piece there in the corner to clean that up, but it's already finished off this room and it looks good. these ceiling pieces look nice. They at least look nice from down below, so I'm probably going to wind up replacing or doing another layer down here of these ceiling things. That's an option. Now this one I can grab on top like this. Normally I wouldn't do this, but it's the only way to grab it down here, and it will stick up through the floor, so I can just grab my post from the other floor. But normally I would try and grab it so I can re-grab it, and then the post sets down, and then I'll be able to actually take it once I've set it in. Just want this to line up really nice. That little texture around really starts looking odd if they get crooked or they're not set right. So let's put some more of these in. Since the lower area is going to be more of a storage type area that I'm thinking, I want to put in like this yellow. More of a caution yellow, I guess you would say. And I think there's a metal that's probably too bright. I don't think that's the yellow. I think there's one that's more of a yellowish or an orangish metal. There we go. This is the one I'm looking for. So I'm going to put this on the edge of the elevator as more of like a safety line or a safety thing, just to give it that look. And hopefully that will tie in with the whole storage room downstairs and the elevator. Just give it a little extra look. Let's drop it in here. Just so there's a little something, because there is a gap there in between the floor and the elevator. I don't know, I think it might work. So now I want to frame in the elevator is my idea, and I think, and I actually thought of this because of these post or pillar pieces from the s'more. So there's all these additional things that I have to build with, and these are perfect. There's so many instances where I need some kind of pillar or post very similar to this. So these will allow me to, kind of frame in that elevator door and clean it off and just make it look nice. Also, it doesn't hurt that it matches the wall. So I had these in here. So I need to access this button, so I need to make sure I don't cover that up. I'll put that right there. Okay, so that looks pretty good as far as the elevator being cleaned up and matches the rest of the walls. And I think I want to add in a different floor. I think I might turn this into kind of like an entertaining area or like a game room or something like that. Let's see here, I think I'm gonna go with the darker floor just because it's different, but I do like the texture of it, and it might look cool with these white walls to have that contrast of the dark wood and the white walls. So let's go with these. I think that looks pretty good. It also separates this area, So maybe we'll have something here, and then this side, maybe we'll have something else. I might even add a staircase, to be honest with you, if rather than, because I'm thinking the elevator might just be to the storage area, you know, to bring heavy stuff up and down. But accessing the lower level, I think I might need a stairwell as on top of that. So there's kind of two ways to get down there. At least that's my thought. I just had an idea of putting in a fireplace on that one wall. I wanted to keep the rock face there just to separate the texture, but it's not a very good in-game texture. It's more, you know, kind of blurred out. There's not a whole lot of detail to it, so it doesn't look right compared to the walls. So I think I'm going to add one of these big fireplace sections, and then maybe build around this and turn this into, like I said, a fancy game room or something like that. This being marble, I remember there being a marble fireplace piece, so I think this will work perfect. Like so. Maybe I might even use two of them just for depth. But this one might just work on its own, because when I put the fire in, the fire's pretty wide. So I might need to double these up. But I think it looks pretty good. I think we can build around this. Maybe even add in some other elements here and make that look like a finished off, you know, custom fireplace piece. I'm just gonna grab this water tank that I left here and add that to the lower level, which is more the storage area, as maybe some kind of backup water source, or maybe that's the clean water source. Something. I just think it'd be good to add in some kind of giant water tank down here. Just add this, tuck it back here next to the elevator, and I'll probably build this in and close it off, or, you know, definitely some of the elevator, much like I did upstairs, but maybe not as fancy as upstairs, more storage-like, with planar walls, maybe even concrete walls, just so it looks more like a basement area. Okay, I've been going for a while now. I think it might be a good spot to stop, otherwise this will just keep going and going and going. So I don't feel like I really did anything this whole time, just little things here or there, but I did want to figure out this upstairs area. I think this turned out pretty cool, and we got the fireplace, which will then lead into like a game room, you know, pool table, maybe a bar kind of thing, and I'm thinking maybe extra guest rooms. That's what I'm thinking. I'm just trying to figure out how to fill the space, and right now it's kind of what I want to do. I don't want to turn it into like a power armor workstation or anything like that. I want to keep it more of like a fancy penthouse. It's kind of the whole idea of this build, so I'm just going to roll with that. But we'll keep building on this next episode. But as far as this episode goes, I think it's coming together, and I'm getting more and more ideas what I want to do as I build. And I jump around when I do that, but sometimes that's the way you figure things out and kind of establish what you want to do, and changes things, and sometimes it works out for the better. So let's go with it. I'm going to cut this one out here. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. And until next time, keep building.